Greetings, dear friends. Imam Tawhidi with you once again. We're hearing news coming from Austria that the Chancellor, Sebastian Kurz, has decided to expel up to 60 Muslim Imams and close down several mosques. Now, while this may come as a surprise from Austria, since we don't really hear Austria much in the news, it comes at a time where, in reality, much attention is needed when dealing with radicalization, Islamism, militant Islamism, the spread of the fundamental teachings of Islam, and so on and so forth. Now, the main reason why I would like to address this issue is very clear. A man such as Sebastian Kurz has clearly understood the threat of the presence of these Imams within his country. Now, why on earth would other countries be upset at the decision of the Chancellor of Austria? Erdogan, the leader of Turkey, or in other words, the reviver of the Ottoman Empire that he dreams of, is very upset at the fact that around 60 Imams will be expelled from Austria. Why? Because he worked very hard to train and groom them to spread his caliphate, and he wants to make sure that his missions across Europe actually succeed. Well, now that they're being sent back home to him, he's not very happy. Well, Erdogan can go to hell. He is a man that has no respect for himself or for human rights, and all what he worries about is sectarian agendas and creating a divide within the international diplomatic community. We have no respect for Erdogan or his bloody missions that bring nothing but violence to this planet. Looking at the decision of Sebastian Kurz, well, yes, why on earth would you have 60 Imams, up to 60 Imams? We know very well that there could be more than 60 Imams, but these are the 60 Imams that have been used as foreign front lines for the caliphates, whether it be in the disguise of Islamic governments, claiming to be democratic governments and so on. They have an agenda within Europe, and Sebastian Kurz has decided to call them out. The funding. Who's sending the money? Why are they sending the money? The people that send the money to these Imams, do they have expectations from these Imams? Or are they just giving free cash every now and then? In reality, whoever feeds has expectations. And these Imams were clearly operatives within Austria. Now that their show is coming to an end, I feel that it's very important for me to come out and support the decision by the Chancellor of Austria. And I think it's a great decision in the right direction. And I really hope that other countries follow such a move. Now, there's nothing to be scared of. Ban all the Imams that are causing trouble. Ban all of the mosques. Stop the building of mosques whose donors are unknown, who the future Imam within these mosques is unknown. What's going to be preached within these mosques is unknown. Why the special treatment when it comes to the Muslim community? I'm a Muslim and I feel very offended that many people, well, the majority of the nation, feel they need to treat me in a special way. I'm a human being. If I move to a country, I have to respect its laws. Just because I believe that I should be breaking the laws, it does not mean that I am worthy of special treatment. Now that the radicals in Austria, the fundamentalists, the extremists, know that their time is coming to an end and Sebastian Kurz is actually cracking down on them, where will they be heading? Will they turn around and say, okay, let's go to Canada, let's go to Australia, let's go to other countries such as the United Kingdom, maybe we'll have a future over there, and the funding keeps rolling? I think it's time that our leaders actually wake up and say, look, the doors are open. What's going to happen? They're going to whinge and whine for 2 or 3 months, a few protests maybe, a few articles online, and then everything returns back to normal. People forget about it. No more radicals welcome in Austria. Radicals will never think of applying for a visa in Austria, and Austria wins. It's as simple as that. In Canada, we have a pretty Justin Trudeau who believes that the returned ISIS fighters are actually reformed jihadists. What exactly is a reformed jihadist? I don't know. He's being reported on in the media that there's this notion going around about jihadists being reformed individuals. We're struggling to reform the non-jihadist extremists who are born in Canada, born in America, born in Australia, born in the UK, who haven't necessarily taken up arms. We're struggling to reform them. And all of a sudden, Einstein of Canada has the solution to reform not only an extremist Muslim, but reform a jihadist that has actually gone and trained and killed and raped people overseas and pledged allegiance to ISIS. He wants to reform these people. Well, how exactly are you going to reform them? In fact, what does reform mean when it comes to reforming a jihadist? So, before they used to kill people with bombs and suicide vests, and now they're reformed. They're using knives and guns. And what exactly is this terminology, and how do you come up with these terminologies? In reality, I believe that the stance taken by Sebastian Kurz does not make him an Islamophobe, does not make him right-wing. It makes him, in fact, someone that values human life and loves life. Why would you want a death cult running amongst your nation? And I could be called a fake or a mouthpiece for the West. In reality, I love human life as well, and I value human life. And if we fled from jihadis and death sentences by Islamic governments to move to the West, and we've integrated with the West and abide by its laws and its way of life, and we respect its host culture, I do not believe why we should tolerate the same radicals that we ran away from to come here and become our neighbors and join us in schools and universities and shopping centers. I actually believe there's more to that. There's more to life than just accepting such humility and disgusting decisions made by weak, spineless politicians. It's about time we actually made the decision when it comes to elections. Vote for stronger borders, or do we vote for weak ones? What exactly is the solution to the problem that we have? Sebastian Kurz did realize that he was creating a problem when trying to solve a problem. But we're dealing with an ideology that solving its problems is a problem itself. Whatever you do, you'll be painted, placed in a certain category, whether you be an Islamophobe, a right-wing, a Zionist shill, whatever. In reality, the truth is the truth. Jihadists have no room in the West. And the West is changing because people are waking up. We live in a community where people are very well educated and aware about what's happening around them. There'll only be specific areas and places where such nonsense is tolerated. Reform jihadist. Don't waste my time. You know a jihadist will never be reformed. You know they don't believe in the democracy that you are using to protect them and give them rights. We know this is a joke. We know what is happening. And people are waking up. And I congratulate Austria for the decision it has made. And I hope to see that during our time, other governments can actually make the same decision. If there's an extremist mosque, it shouldn't operate. If there is a jihadi, should not be walking the streets. If there's an imam in our country that is here to spread hate and the fundamental versions of Islam that every reformed and moderate Muslim ran away from, these people should not be present in this country. And especially if they are acting as a front for other governments, other Islamic governments such as Hamas, such as the Iranian regime, and so on and so forth. I leave you with this very short and brief message. Believe in the truth when it comes to dealing with extremists. Do not cower behind policies and the funding of Saudi Arabia and Iran and so on. Do not sell your countries. Believe in yourself. Because what you are doing now as politicians, you are actually writing history. Do not allow yourselves to be placed within the darkest pages of history and to be known as people who destroyed the country that the future generations will live in. Thank you very much.